The Montreal Canadiens just reached the Eastern Conference Final, and Kent Hughes is staring at a decision that could either cement their championship window or expose a fatal flaw in their defensive structure. While fans celebrate their breakthrough playoff run and dream of Stanley Cup glory, one glaring weakness threatens to derail everything they've built. The harsh reality that nobody wants to discuss. Montreal's right side defense isn't championship caliber, not when facing elite competition in 7-game series, where every mistake gets magnified under playoff pressure. That's where Michael Kesselring enters the conversation, like a perfectly timed opportunity disguised as damaged goods. Buffalo's mismanagement becomes Montreal's potential salvation. The Sabres have somehow transformed a 6 feet 5 inches right-shot defenseman with legitimate top-four upside into a healthy scratch during their own playoff push. When organizations make decisions that defy basic hockey logic, smart general managers circle like sharks sensing blood in the water. Kessering finds himself caught in the crossfire of Buffalo's organizational dysfunction. This isn't a player who suddenly forgot how to play hockey. This is a 26-year-old defenseman entering his prime years who got buried in a system that never maximized his considerable talents. Michael Kesselring, Buffalo Sabres defenseman. The numbers tell a story that should excite every Canadiens fan dreaming of defensive stability. Just 2 seasons ago with Utah, Kessering posted career highs. 7 goals, 22 assists, 29 points in 82 games. Those aren't empty statistics or garbage time production. That's legitimate top-4 offensive contribution from a player with elite size and reach. But here's where this gets interesting and potentially controversial among Montreal's analytical community. Kesselring's disastrous Buffalo tenure might be exactly what makes him the perfect low-risk, high-reward acquisition for a team ready to take the next step. Think about the psychology at play here. A player who's been healthy scratched during playoff games, who's watched his career stagnate in Buffalo's toxic environment, who's probably questioning whether he belongs in the NHL at all. That's a player with everything to prove and nothing to lose. Martin St. Louis has built his coaching reputation on maximizing players who other organizations have given up on. The same coach who transformed Cole Caulfield from struggling rookie to elite goal scorer, who unleashed Lane Hutson's offensive creativity, who's gotten career years from multiple players, could work similar magic with Kessering's raw tools. The size factor cannot be overstated in today's NHL. At 6 feet 5 inches, Kessering possesses a kind of physical presence that becomes invaluable during playoff hockey, when games are decided in front of the net and along the boards. Montreal's current right side options lack that intimidating physical element that elite teams possess. Picture the scenario. Eastern Conference Final. Game 7. Opposing forwards trying to establish net front presence against Samuel Montembeault. Instead of smaller defenders getting overpowered in crucial moments, Kessering's massive frame clears the crease and eliminates second-chance opportunities. That's the difference between good teams and championship teams. The contract situation creates perfect storm conditions for this acquisition. Kessering's value has never been lower, meaning Buffalo can't demand premium assets in return. Montreal could potentially acquire a bounce-back candidate for pennies on the dollar, the kind of asset management that builds sustainable championship rosters. But the real intrigue lies in what this move represents for Montreal's competitive timeline. Hughes has consistently preached patience and long-term development, but reaching the Eastern Conference Final changes everything. When championship windows open, successful organizations pivot from accumulating assets to maximizing current opportunities. The age factor adds another layer of appeal to this potential acquisition. At 26, Kessering is entering what should be the prime years of his career. He's not an aging veteran on the decline, or a young prospect still learning the position. He's a player who should be hitting his peak performance levels right now. The tactical fit with Montreal's system creates intriguing possibilities. St. Louis emphasizes quick puck movement and transition hockey, exactly the kind of system that could maximize Kessering's offensive instincts while minimizing his defensive limitations. His size provides a physical element Montreal needs, while his mobility allows him to participate in the rush-heavy attack they prefer. The development aspect cannot be ignored either. Montreal's defensive prospects like David Reinbacher and Logan Mailloux are still years away from top-4 readiness. Kessering could provide the bridge veteran presence that allows those prospects to develop naturally without being rushed into roles they're not prepared for. Buffalo's motivation to move Kessering stems from their own roster construction failures. The Sabres have accumulated defensemen without considering how they fit together tactically or systematically. Kessering became the odd man out not because of ability, but because of organizational mismanagement. The Sabres' playoff usage tells the entire story. Playing Kessering in only one playoff game despite his size and experience reveals a coaching staff that either doesn't understand his value or has completely lost confidence in his abilities. Either scenario creates opportunity for Montreal to exploit. The risk-reward calculation heavily favors Montreal in this scenario. They're potentially acquiring a former top-four defenseman at his lowest possible value. If he bounces back to his Utah form, they found a legitimate defensive anchor for pennies on the R. If he doesn't pan out, they've lost minimal assets while taking a calculated gamble. The psychological element adds another dimension to this potential acquisition. Kessering has experienced the frustration of organizational dysfunction in Buffalo. Coming to Montreal's positive, development-focused environment could unleash the player he was always capable of becoming. Championship teams understand that talent acquisition isn't always about acquiring superstars. Sometimes it's about identifying undervalued players who fit specific needs and providing them with the environment to succeed. Kessering represents exactly that kind of opportunity. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Montreal's championship window has officially opened after their Eastern Conference final appearance. They need to add veteran presence and defensive stability without compromising their long-term flexibility. Kessering checks every box. But here's the question that will define Ken Hughes' legacy. Does he have the vision to see past Kessering's Buffalo struggles and recognize the player he could become in Montreal's system? The answer might determine whether Montreal's championship window stays open or closes before they can capitalize on their young core's potential. Will Montreal take the calculated risk that could solve their defensive needs for years to come? Hit that like button if you believe Kessering could be the missing piece Montreal needs. And subscribe because this summer's moves will determine whether Canadiens can build on their Eastern Conference final success or fall back into mediocrity.